So then the final day of predictions for quarters. It is quarter four, and we are looking at the last quarter of the first round action up until the last 32. And then in tomorrow's video, we will go from the last 16 all the way to predicting the final. Starting off then, Michael Van Gerwen will play the winner of James Hurrell or Jim Long. Again, I look at this fixture, Hurrell against Long, and I've seen James Hurrell a lot more on the Pro Tour, obviously, than what I have Jim Long. But Jim Long has been good on the Modus Super Series. Again, this is a tough game. I'm going to go James Hurrell to win. Brendan Dolan will play the winner of Chris Landman or Lok Yin Lee. The history maker, of course, in the this section of the draw. And you've got to fancy Chris Landman. I don't know a lot of these international qualifiers and the standard that they're at, but I do imagine Chris Landman gets the job done against Lok Yin Lee. Gary Anderson then, the 14th seed, will play either Jeffrey de Graaf or Rashad Sweetin. Rashad Sweetin, the first ever player to represent the Bahamas at the World Darts Championship. Another nation ticked off at the World Darts Championship. The winner of that will play Gary Anderson. And again, I've gone with de Graaf, the better player by a long stretch. And I think that he gets the job done pretty comfortably against Rashad Sweetin. But again, it's a big opportunity to play Gary Anderson. Ross Smith, Smudger, will play either Jim Williams or Paulo Nebreda. We've seen Nebreda for the Philippines at the World Cup. But Jim Williams, I've gone with the Welsh boy. You know, again, he's had a couple of decent runs at the World Championships. And I'm going to go for Jim Williams to get the job done over Paulo Nebreda to set up a very good game against Ross Smith. Dave Chisnall then, the number 6 seed, not had the best of year really on the major TV tournaments. He will play the winner of Ricky Evans or Gordon Mathers. I just like Ricky Evans at the World Championship. Everyone knows that, he brings the spirit of the World Championships, Ricky Evans. And I think in this tournament, he's going to do the exact same. I think he beats Gordon Mathers and sets up a very interesting game against Dave Chisnall in the second round. But I think Ricky Evans gets past Gordon Mathers. Gabriel Clemens, the 27th seed, then will play either Neil Zonneveld or Robert Owen. I try to rep the Wales boys as much as I can, but I do think that Neil Zonneveld beats Robert Owen. I look at Neil Zonneveld's game, and Rob Owen obviously got in on a technicality because of Dom Taylor. So, could he be a bit, all over the place in terms of his preparation? But you've got to be prepared for these things. So, surely he should be prepared. But I'm going to go for Niels Zonneveld. And then the last two first-round games of the 2024 PDC World Darts Championship. Dimitri Van den Bergh, the Dreammaker, will play either Willie O'Connor or Dylan Slevin, an all-Irish affair in round one. And I've gone Willie O'Connor. I think Willie O'Connor loves this tournament. He loves the big stage, doesn't he? We've seen him at the Players' Championship. He's done well at the UK Open before. He loves this big stage, and I think he gets past his country compatriot to set up that game with Dimitri Van den Bergh. And then Martin Schindler, the 22 seed, will play either Callan Rydz or Romeo Gravbarac. And again, I've seen Romeo on the Modus Super Series, but Callan Rydz is just a different kettle of fish to what you see on the Modus Super Series and what Romeo has to come up against on the Super Series. I'm going to go for Callan Rydz to set up that game with Martin Schindler. So then moving on to the second round and going through all my second round predictions for quarter four. Michael Van Gerwen against James Hurrell. Again, if James Hurrell somehow or Jim Long beat Michael Van Gerwen, it would be one of the biggest upsets in the World Championship history. So I'm going to go for MVG to get the job done against James Hurrell. Again, he's another one that would want this tournament so badly. He's not won it for 4 years maybe, I think. And I think he gets past James Hurrell. Brendan Dolan, Chris Landman. Again, I think Brendan just does enough to get over the line against Chris Landman. He's probably just got enough quality in his armoury to beat Chris Landman. I'm going to go for Dolan to get through there. Gary Anderson against Jeffrey de Graaf. Gary Anderson, despite being 14th seed, is probably one of the favourites at this tournament, in my opinion, and he's going into it as one of the hot players to watch at this tournament. I think Gary Anderson beats Jeffrey de Graaf. The final game of this half of the draw is Ross Smith against Jim Williams. And again, the form of Ross Smith right now, playing some really nice darts, getting deep in tournaments now. This is what Ross Smith wanted to do. 3-4 years ago, he was a player who could do it. Now he's a player that can get deep in majors. Not could, can. And I think now Ross Smith, it's his time to shine. If he wins this game, sets up that game with Gary Anderson, who knows, but I think he beats Jim Williams. And then the final second round games then sees Dave Chisnell take on Ricky Evans. And I've gone for rapid Ricky Evans. I said he loves this tournament, loves Christmas, loves the World Championship. And again, same with Ricky. We've seen that he can burst into action. He can burst into, you know, an incredible run at a tournament. And I think he beats Dave Chisnell in the last 64, the second round. And what a story that'll be for Ricky Evans, knocking out the number 6 seed. Gabriel Clemens against Neil Zonneveld. Again, I think normal services resume for Gabri Clemens in this one. I think he beats Neil Zonneveld again. He got to the semi-finals of this not so long ago, and I think he beats the Dutchman. Dimitri Van den Berg against Willie O'Connor. Again, could go either way. I think Willie O'Connor definitely has a chance in this one. I've gone Dimmy just because I think the experience of this tournament, you know, going deep as Dimmy's done in the past, I think Willie O'Connor may come unstuck. And then the final game of round 2, all told, is Martin Schindler against Callan Rydz. And again, Schindler is one for me to seriously watch at this tournament. Could go very, very deep. He's in an arguably favourable section of the draw, and especially this little section. He is arguably probably the best player in it, in my opinion. So yeah, I think Martin Schindler beats Callan Rydz. Let's have a look at the last 32 of this quarter. So then, moving on to the last prediction on today's video, the last 32 of quarter 4, and then tomorrow will be last 16 all the way to the finals. So starting off with the first third round tie, Michael Van Gerwen against Brendan Dolan. Again, I'm gonna go MVG. I've said it in the last round against James Horrell. If Brendan wins, it'll be a shock, but Brendan is capable of it. We've seen him knock out Gerwyn Price. You know, very, very good player on his day, Brendan Dolan, and it's just, can he slow the game down to his standard and push Michael all the way? I don't think so. I've got MVG. Gary Anderson, Ross Smith, very good game. Very, very good game between two very in-form players right now. Gary Anderson, as I mentioned, don't be fooled by the 14th seed. He's much better than that right now. He's probably 4 or 5 in the world, maybe even top 3 in the world right now, behind the two Lukes, and I think he beats Ross Smith. Ricky Evans to continue his burst. I've gone Ricky Evans to beat Gabriel Clemens in the last 32 in round 3. For Ricky Evans to reach the last 16 of the World Darts Championship would be absolutely insane, and I don't really put it past him. He's got the ability, he's got the habit of winning, and we've seen him go deep in tournaments as well, so he has got that feeling of winning. I think Ricky Evans beats Gabriel Clemens. And then finally, Dimitri Van den Berg against Martin Schindler. I've gone for the wall, the German wall, Martin Schindler. I think, again, he's got that real fear factor of him right now. He doesn't get feared. He doesn't worry about anyone else. He just plays his games of darts, and that sort of gritty attitude from Martin Schindler, I think, gets him over the line against Dimitri Van den Berg. Those are my predictions for quarter 4, the last quarter of the draw. Do get your predictions in down below. Let me know who you think's going to win the quarter, any shocks in the quarter, what seeds are going to drop. Also, make sure you're smashing a like, subscribing, liking, following, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in tomorrow's video where I'll predict the last 16 all the way to the final and crown the 2025 PDC World Champion. Let me know your thoughts down below, as always, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Thanks for watching.